Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see, what is it? Tuesday, February 23rd. Man, I swear time just disappears so quickly. Um, it's 10 o'clock. Give it about 2 minutes, maybe about a minute and a half more. At 10:02, we'll start meditating. And thanks for joining this morning. Thank you. Alrighty, it's 10:02 and welcome. Good morning to meditation this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, I'm feeling peculiar today. I don't know if it's a good way or just different. Um, I think what's been coming up on my mind a lot lately is from my talk, Unity of Grand Rapids, on Sunday. I felt that I repeat things so many times, and I have a bit of a story going on and a bit of a process that I'm working through, trying to be as present as I can with it, and also recognizing this thought that says I'm repeating these things over and over again, meditation and my speaking. But what's also true for me that I'm aware of is it's not about how much or how little I say anything. It's about getting out of the way, getting my ego out of the way, getting my person out of the way, and being so clear and so present and just allowing um, consciousness to express itself through me, that whatever needs to be said is said. And so it's fighting again. There's a bit of a struggle going on with my mind that I'm noticing right now with the whole thing. And it's okay. The thing that I love about it is that I know that it's here because there's something that is not in complete harmony. And this is life, right? When there's something that's not harmonious within ourselves, then life and God are giving you that which you need to help you to come to terms with that. So that's where I'm at with the whole thing. And I've been doing a lot of fasting lately, of intermittent fasting, where I'm just eating one meal a day. I've done that for, I don't know, maybe a week and a half. I don't remember now. And I feel like I want to keep with it. And I know I'm doing a little extra chatting this morning, but I feel that this needs to be said. And Sadhguru, the self-realized teacher that has hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of followers in the world, has spoken at the United Nations before on peace, is certainly, I've done a couple workshops with him, and he certainly has a wisdom and depth perhaps greater than anybody that walks this planet right now. I don't know. But he had said that intermittent fasting, if you fast, just eat 2 meals a day and make sure you're 8 hours apart, you'll heal 50% of every physical issue that you have going on. If you eat 1 meal a day, which is what I've been doing, and you can have a hearty meal, you can heal 100% of the physical stuff going on. Now, he may have said that in conjunction with him, like if you're following me and you do this, 100% of your issues will be healed. And it might be part of his grace, his healing energy. I don't necessarily feel drawn to connect with him in that way energetically. my go-tos are God, my teacher Sadashiva, Muji, Eckhart Tolle, and other teachers that are here on the planet as well as in the ethers and on the spiritual side. So we all have that, and we can all access that, and we just need to open our minds and our hearts and allow it all to flow in, right? So, extra words this morning, but it's okay. Let's just see where this whole thing goes this morning, and I do trust that it will go exactly the way it needs to go. And my mind might fight it, and that's okay, and I'm going to be present and aware of that, just the same as I ask you as well. Okay? Thank you. Let's meditate. So just taking in a nice deep breath. And really just letting go of any stuff going on. I'm going to do the same thing. Just emptying out all the thoughts. Letting go of all the past. And letting go, making sure you're letting go of all the future as well, which is really worrying about the unknown, fear of the unknown. And the fear of the unknown can get the mind incredibly busy, because the mind, thinking it's in charge, wanting to be somebody, going after happiness the way it feels it should go after happiness, not considering any spiritual aspect because it doesn't understand the spiritual aspect. It just has a logical approach as to what it thinks is best to be happy, to be somebody, maybe to be famous or quote unquote successful. Because let's face it, success is different to all people and what it means. And for me, there's no greater success, and Spirit has told me this. There's nothing greater that we could do than to awaken to the truth of who we are. And Spirit went on to give me a clear message one morning to say, you can't possibly imagine how many lives you affect when you become enlightened, when you awaken to the truth of who you are. I don't even actually like the word enlightened, to be honest with you. There's just too much stuff along with it. It's not that it's not true. It's just that, I don't know, maybe for myself, it's been too much of an ego thing. I'm going for enlightenment or to become enlightened. Like, that's all still ego. It's still ego if we're becoming enlightened so that we can be somebody, or people will love us or approve of us, or we're successful, or now we're considered wise or intelligent. It doesn't matter. If we're going for enlightenment for that reason, it's still all ego. So I ponder this so much of what's been going on, and the one thing that stands clear for me all the time is how important it is to empty out that which we are not, which is everything. It's everything. And the mind could say, well, wait a minute, if it's everything, then what does that leave? It leaves nothing. It leaves nobody. There's non-existence. The one thing that we can never ever get rid of, and you've heard me say this many times, but I have to say this, you can empty out absolutely everything. I mean everything. Because the one thing that you can never empty out or get rid of is you. You are you, and it's not part of the everything. It's not part of the everything. It's the nothing, the no thing. There is not one physical thing about you. But we have grasped onto this body, this physical form, and we have become a description, a label that involves the physical, involves the mental, involves the emotional. And many people thrive on being intellectually smart. But I'll say this about intelligence, mental intelligence, intelligence of the mind, that I don't want to put too much on this, but it can be actually more difficult for a person that is very intelligent than a person that's not. And I don't want to take this away from somebody that's intelligent either. I'm just saying you will never fully awaken to the truth of who you are because you've gained another piece of information or knowledge. It's more about unlearning than it is about learning. And then your mind might say, well, wait a minute. If I learned that love is a good thing, isn't that something good? It's not about learning that love is a good thing or learning anything really. It's about having a direct experience as to who you are. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle this morning, and one of these things that he says, it's not about achieving something, it's about discovering something. It's not about achieving something, it's about discovering something. Not achieving who you are, discovering who you are. To discover, uncover, to reveal who you are, who you have always been, and who you will always be. But we think if we read more books or we listen to all these teachings that somehow we'll gain some piece of knowledge that will help us to awaken to who we are. Quite honestly, one of the reasons I resonate with Muji so strongly is because it's not about learning anything. It's about letting go of everything. And probably the biggest thing is letting go of this belief that we have anything to do with thoughts themselves. You know, average 80,000, 100,000 thoughts a day. It's like, how can we possibly be at peace? How can we possibly discover the truth of who we are when our mind is so incredibly busy? And more so than it being busy is that so much of the time we're listening to it or even relying on it to lead us to happiness, to lead us to our solutions. I'm just feeling more and more of the clarity on I don't want to look to my mind for anything. And for a long time I had a mentor who is incredibly intuitive, really good, and I highly recommend people to him because he can really lead people to a wonderful place. But what's also true is there comes a point in time where I was being prodded by Spirit to let go of him as my mentor. And to be honest with you, the first time I let go, we got in this big argument. And he convinced me that I needed to return to him and that I couldn't do it without him. And I notice I have some pain around that. Just old stories that would have me pull me back into that time. If I wouldn't have listened to him, then I would be farther along my path. That's what my mind says. And that's where my pain lies. But that is unnecessary and even a lie. Because the present moment is the present moment. It doesn't matter how many bad things you've done or how long ago it was even. If you release those and let those things go, you don't even really have to release them. They can still be there, and if you fully return to this present moment, they become irrelevant. Because the only thing that is relevant is this very present moment. That's all. What has happened in the past is the past, and it only takes away from the joy, the peace, the love of who you are if you're dragging it into this present moment. So we get in this huge argument, and it was probably a few years later that I very clearly felt Spirit pulling me again. There was no words. It was this vibration, this clear vibrational truth that said, stop looking to Him for the answers. And I knew that they were right, and I knew it's what I had to do. I had looked to Him for so long. For so long I had looked to Him. And what was happening, I was looking to Him, and I wasn't looking within myself or wasn't looking to God. So this time I made a decision. I was going to stop listening to Him and stop going to Him. He's a chiropractor by trade, but a healer. And by the way, I'm not trying to tear him down in any way. He had his own stuff to learn. He learned it. He's a spectacular healer. He's a healer of healers. Really quite good. And so any case, the second time I'm like, I'm not going to Him. I'm just going to stop going. And I did that. And then I had some problems, and the problems looked like it was bigger for me than what I could handle, and I turned back to Him, going back to Him and telling Him what I had done, that I stopped going to Him because of Spirit asked me to. We got in another huge fight. And this was his ego that was getting in the way of his approach, and he later on acknowledged that. But it was this fight, it was the fight among fights, that we literally got to the very core rawness of yelling and screaming. And I was calm at first, and he kept going at me because he wanted me to get past the fluff. He wanted me to get past being the nice guy and say what I was really feeling. And he accessed it, and I was pissed. I was so angry, and we went at it. But he goes at it in a way that when he's done, he's done. He said everything he needs to say, and he emptied out. Me, I was fried, and I didn't want to have anything to do with him in that moment. But one of the gifts of him is that he does not run. He is a loyal friend, and still is to this day. And that was, I don't even know, 10, 12 years ago. But I broke free. I broke free, and it was hard because my mind wanted to continue looking towards Him for the answers. But I was aware of that, and I noticed it, and then I came back to looking to God. And then I was traveling, and I was doing a lot of fasting. Spirit was now coming to me in ways that they had never come to me. My guidance was increasing, and they were telling me physical things that were wrong with me. And so I was doing a lot of fasting to clear things out, and I reached in the back of my car from my driver's seat, and I felt a rib pop out of place. And I thought to myself, honestly, oh shit. Now what am I going to do? I have no chiropractor to go see to put it back into place. But I felt that it was still right for me to look to God. And I said, Father, I don't know how to do this. Am I supposed to see somebody else? Am I not supposed to see anybody? I'm just giving this over to you. My ribs were sore. I wasn't sleeping well. And about a week went by, and I was getting some clear messages. I don't even know if it was a week. I don't think it was a week actually, but I started getting some clear messages that every time I rolled over on my side at nighttime in bed, or rolled on my stomach especially, the songs were bad. And Spirit was communicating to me, no, don't lay on your side, but especially don't lay on your stomach. And so for maybe a couple, 2-3 nights, I laid only on my back. And I like laying on my side, but I just laid on my back. And then, I'm going to say it was around maybe the third night, as I'm laying in bed, all of a sudden I woke up maybe 7 or 8 times in the middle of the night where God was breathing me. I was taking these deep breaths, and it happened to me several times. I would just be sleeping and all of a sudden I'd wake up and God was breathing me. That's the best way I can describe it. And so this went on several times for the night. And a little time passed by, I don't know, maybe 5 days, a week, and then all of a sudden I realized my rib had been healed. It had been put back in place from the deep breathing that God was doing. It's so easy for us to judge the situation. Why is this happening to me? What am I going to do? And we look to the mind. Because in a way, my friend, who I tremendously love and respect, but it was like looking to the mind, looking to a source other than God. And I highly recommend people to him for a lot of people who need direction. And he, of course, is not the same person he was either. We had a tremendous healing through the whole thing for both him and I. And he'd seen how he had been limiting me in different ways. I don't see him as my healer anymore. I look to God for everything. Even with my eye, I have not done anything physical. I'm not saying other people should follow the same path, but I've given up my vitamins. I've given up any medication. I've given up going to see the doctor. Except for the time where I needed stitches, I did go. But I have discovered that God is the source of everything. Everything. Yogananda, in his book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, tells a story of how his teacher was looking to... I'm not going to share that story. There's something that's just not flowing with it. It popped into my head. Maybe that was for me. But what I will say is this. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to vitamins or medication or fasting is one of the ways that I do. It's really about following that intuitive feeling that is there for everyone. And I may have mentioned this recently, that my teacher Sadashiva said, there's always a response from God, from Spirit. Always. But there's also a response from the mind of how it wants to chime in. It's just a matter of who we're going to listen to. I hope that everyone here in this meditation, either physically here right now or in this recording, I hope that you are ready to let go of looking to your mind as if it is your master, as if it is your God, as if it knows what truth is, as if it knows what happiness is, as if it is your solver for all your problems. Because the more we look to it, the busier it gets trying to find the solutions to every single problem that we have. But why would we want to look to the mind when God has not only the answers, but the truth behind the answers. And at best, the mind can only provide a portion or of the truth, or a portion of happiness. It can never fully give you what you really want and cry out for, what your soul cries out for. Because it will always come from a place of logic, it will come from a place of judgment, this is good and this is bad. And it will come from a place that it thinks it knows what happiness is, and that it's intelligence, and it's somebody, and I can show you the way home, and I can help you to be happy. I can help you to get that job. We'll figure this out. I'll figure this out. It's all just a bunch of mind and ego stuff. And it's the very source of the problems in this world, that we believe what the mind says. There will be people that go their whole life believing everything the mind has been saying. So, what to do? It's really about making a simple choice. And if these words resonate with you, you can use this prayer. Father, I choose to give up looking to my mind as the source. I choose to give up looking to the mind for the source of happiness, for love, for peace, for truth, for fulfillment of my life, or success, or to be somebody. I give this over to you, Father. I give my life over to you in its entirety. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, knowing that you are my source of all the joy that I've been looking for. You are the source of the very core truth of who I am. And I pray, Father, that you return me to that place that has always been there, been here, that will always be here, and that very core truth of who I am. And I recognize that that is of the utmost importance to really live the life that I truly want and choose to live. And so any of my endeavors to feel satisfied, fulfilled, grateful, peaceful, joyful, and full of love and compassion and grace, I give all of it over to you and recognize that you are the solution to it all, as I am, as the truth of who I am is one with you as well. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, it's crazy, the world that we've been raised up in, and particularly maybe in the United States. Well, there's Christianity throughout the world. I've been a bit trapped by Christianity in different ways. I was raised up Baptist, and I had a lot of beliefs around it. And then I've had the struggles of fighting and arguing with fundamentalists that say that Jesus is the only way. So recently I had a dream of how I am still carrying that judgment around about, I'm going to say, fundamental Christians. But I was also reading the book by my teacher Sada Shiva that said there's plenty of fundamentalists, Christians, Hindus, Muslims, and New Age. We can be fundamentally New Age as well. And I realized I was doing some of that kind of thinking, that believing my path was better than others. And we have to let go of all of that. And the truth is, I'm coming to this place of more of a peace with Christians. And I'm so grateful for that. In fact, my wife would probably, and has said, that she is a Christian. And she's a very open-minded Christian, so it's made it, I don't have any judgment about her path, more from a fundamental point of view. But it's really, I feel grateful that I'm coming back around so that really I can have that kind of relationship with Jesus that I want to have, and to really know that whoever chooses the path of Jesus, what I'm clear on, because I've had enough experiences with Jesus to know that they're in good hands. And maybe I'm judging them as being fundamental, some of them fundamental, but do you think that Jesus is going to let them get away with that? Or is Jesus or God going to let me get away with being a fundamental New Ageist? Or, and it might not be Jesus, it might be Krishna or whoever, Buddha. They're not going to let anybody get away with. Why? Because our soul cries out for more. Our soul cries out in a way it doesn't want to get away with anything. It wants to return home. And that's the ultimate truth of everyone. It's just that some people cannot see this. They're not aware of this. But it doesn't matter what religion you are. When you look to a higher power, when you look to a sage or you look to God for truth, there will be something that will be revealed to you to help you to clear out that which is in your way of the truth of who you are. And all the main religions really speak of the same things: truth, love, forgiveness. And I know you're used to me speaking a lot, so you have not lost the internet connection. In fact, you've gained something better than an internet connection. You've gained that awareness of who you are that is beyond any thought, beyond any labels, beyond any concepts or descriptions. Returning home to that beautiful truth that is beyond any form or shape, beyond anything physical whatsoever. And I've been saying this more and more because I really want people to get this. You are the awareness that is watching it all. Your person has a certain amount of awareness. If you have a thought that says, I'm really feeling bad, or you experience a feeling, either way, when you have a thought or a feeling, your person can be aware of that, but the person is still trapped in duality. Is still trapped in this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And so consequently, when the experience, the situation, doesn't match up with the way the mind or the ego, the person, wants it to, there will be an awareness, but there will be judgment along with that awareness. You, the true you, is the one that is aware of the thought, aware of the feeling, all the physical, mental, emotional, but also aware of the person that is aware of those things. But the difference is, you as awareness doesn't need anything to be any different than what it is, because you have transcended the duality of the mind and the ego. And that is how you can be a witness to all of life, but still be at peace no matter what experience you have. Because the situation is never, ever the problem. The only problem that there can exist is our resistance to the situation, our fighting against the situation, our wanting the situation to be different than what it is. That's the only problem right there. But the good news is you, the core you, as the witness to all of it, doesn't need any of it to be any different. And you do not need anything physical whatsoever, and are not anything physical that is conscious awareness. Awareness does not require anything physical and is not anything physical. That is why when your body passes, your mind passes, and you leave behind this physical world, you still exist, because you can't get rid of consciousness. You can't get rid of you. The only thing that can happen is you can be blocked from recognizing you. But the you is still there. Will always be there, and has always been here. No matter what you have done, no matter what you will ever do, the true you will still be you, will still be here and now. So right now, I just invite you just to let go of everything. I really mean everything. All the past, all the future. Let go of all the thoughts. Just allow the mind to be in the stillness, the silence. Letting go of all the feelings, all the past shame and guilt and blame. Letting go of all your opinions and judgments and self-righteousness. Letting go of all your fears. Some people have said, well, no, I need my fears. Fears are good. You can use those as a tool to make sure you're not doing something. Really? Do you need to have fear to recognize, if you put your hand in the fire, that it will burn your skin? It's not necessary to have fear. There's people that aren't afraid of fire at all, that walk on coals. It's not about having the fear. It's just about having and connecting with the wisdom and truth of who you are. Divine intelligence, divine wisdom, divine truth lies beyond the mind and beyond the body. And if you want to connect with true intelligence, you have to transcend the mind and come back to the truth of who you are. I don't know what words are about to come out. I keep hearing in my head, saying the words over and over again. And I'm noticing the thoughts in my head. Surely people get tired of this. Why do you keep saying the things over and over again? And I feel my presence with that. And I even feel some things moving through. What if we need to hear it over and over again? Because the truth is, my small self does. I need to hear this over and over again. And I'm conscious when I say I know it's not the true me. But I need to hear this over and over again. And so, yes, I feel my ego judging the experience. And that yet there is something that I feel called to be here every morning. I feel called to lead this meditation. I feel called to share these words over and over again because it's what I need to say. And it's what needs to be said. And those who need to listen to it will listen to it, and those that don't resonate with it won't. And maybe this is meditation again. Some of these meditations are as much for me, maybe more, than those who listen. I don't know. I think it's all perfect. I used to work at another bakery a long time ago called Marty's Cookies. My job was to scoop cookie dough balls, and I did this every day. And I would scoop up the dough, and I would put it on the scale, and it needed to be 5 1/4 ounces was the size the cookies needed to be. And I scooped these cookie dough balls for about a month. And after about a month had went by, I heard myself saying, if I have to scoop one more frickin' dough ball, I'm going to kill myself. I wasn't literally going to kill myself, but you get the message. I had had enough of it. I couldn't stand it any longer. But I needed the job. I needed the money. And so I kept scooping. And finally, I let go of my resistance. I let go of my resistance, and I started scooping cookie dough balls like I've never scooped them before. I became like a Zen master. That I would scoop the dough balls, and I would put it on the scale, and usually I'd have to pinch off a little dough if there was too much, or add some dough if there wasn't enough. Almost every dough ball was exactly 5 1/4 ounces. It became this meditation, scooping one dough ball after another, and I had surrendered fully into the moment. How about you? Are you ready to fully surrender into this present moment? Are you ready to fully surrender into peace? And I invite you to do that right now, just to surrender into peace. And I invite you to surrender into love. Just surrender into love. And I invite you to surrender into joy, or even the bliss of God, just surrendering it into that. And I invite you to surrender into life itself. Let go of any and all resistance that you have to life. Letting go of all your attachments, all your desires, and just be present. Just be rooted in this present moment without any resistance whatsoever. And I invite you just to surrender into God and the truth of who you are. And earlier we were speaking of Eckhart Tolle saying, you are not anything that you can achieve. You are something you can discover. And that discovery, that true you, is here right now in this very moment. It has always been here. It will always be here. You cannot escape it. And it will never be because of something you have accomplished, that you earned. No. No, no, no. All you need to do is just let go of all those things that block you from recognizing the truth of who you are right now. That's why letting go of all your resistance to life, letting go of all your past, all your stories, only you is here. Only you. I don't know what will happen from here. I don't know what will happen from here with you, with me. I do know this. As these words flow through me, I know that you are love. I know that you are peace. I know that you are joy itself. And I know that there's no distance you need to travel to be that. You don't even have to move one single inch because it's you. And it doesn't take any movement to get to you. It doesn't take any action to get to you. It doesn't take any knowledge to get to you. And it doesn't matter whatever the past or the future is to be you. There is nowhere you need to go. There's nothing you need to do. You don't need to read another book. You don't need to find the guru. You don't need to climb the mountaintop. You are you. And whatever blocks you from recognizing that very truth, if there's a fear or a blame or a judgment, I invite you to let go of that right now, or at the very least, just suspend that and set that to the side for this meditation. And if you want to pick it up afterwards, you can. You and I were not any different, nor are we any different from Jesus, from Buddha, from Krishna, from any of the great sages and saints that have walked this earth. There's no one that is special or more special than the other. And Jesus uttered these words in different ways and at different times. And the one thing that's forgotten or not paid attention to in the Bible, we of course know that there's a verse in the Bible that says, where Jesus says, the Father and I are one. But Jesus also says, you and the Father are one. Forgotten. Forgotten. Nobody hears about that. There is no difference between you, and there is no difference between God itself. If God is the ocean, we are a drop of pure ocean ourselves. And I love what Muji says. He says that you show up in a form of the ocean that is the wave. And you think because you look different that you, I don't know if I'm saying this right. I don't know if I would say look. Let me let that go for a moment. You have described yourself as the wave as if it is different than the ocean. But the wave is the ocean. It's part of the ocean. It's just a different experience than the ocean. I can't even say that. It's just the ocean. It's just the ocean. But I don't want you to believe anything that I say. It's not enough to believe this. It's not enough to you can't have a concept or belief of that. That's just more mind stuff. And when you are just being, and you are that isnness, that pure beingness, that pure truth of who you are, that is beyond anything physical, mental, or emotional, believing me isn't necessary any longer. You can describe that truth for yourself. I don't even know if describe is the right word. You can simply be that truth, be that experience, that direct experience. And I think I also want to say, I also loved a Muji description that says that when we awaken to the truth of who we are, and when I say awaken, it's that truth where you recognize that you are the awareness, you are the witness to life. You are the witness to the movie, and know that you're not a character in the movie. And you are the witness to life, and know that you are not the one, you are not the person, you are not the thinker, you are not the doer, but you are simply the one who is aware of that. But I would say more simply, awareness is when you recognize that you are not your thoughts. Awakening is when you become aware that you are not your thoughts, because everything springs out of your thoughts, right? Your feelings, your beliefs, the belief that you are a body or a mind. It all springs out of these thoughts that we have believed. When you recognize that you are not your mind, that you are not your thoughts, that you are the awareness, the one who is a witness to those, that is awakening. But when you awaken, it doesn't mean that you won't get caught in your person or your mind or your thoughts. It simply means that you have begun to, as Muji describes, the ceiling, it's when you turn the ceiling fan off, because you have awakened. So you turn the fan off, but the fan will stay spinning for a while yet, until it has exhausted any beliefs that you are your mind or your thoughts or your ego or person. I don't know if we need to go through any more than this, honestly. And most of you have already heard the rest of what's said. You know, when the thoughts come in, let them go, and da 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 da. And I'm saying it like that because I do think we're ready to focus more on the stillness and the silence of who we are. And there's actually a point of even listening to the silence. Some might believe, if they were in my position, that they have tinnitus, that ringing in the ears. And when I've actually moved deeply into the silence, into the formless truth of who I am, there's this ongoing, just slight ringing in the background that's always there. And I know that is a reminder for me of when I'm really listening to the silence. I'm being in the silence. And it's not an annoying thing. It's actually helps me to see that I am the silence. I am the stillness. And that there truly is nothing to do, nothing to say. And ultimately, as we're rooted in that core truth of who we are, where just simply being the stillness and the silence. And remember, we're beyond the doer also, so there's no action, there's no movement taking place whatsoever. No movement. It's just sweet, pure, still silence. That's all. And when we move beyond the mind, it's all we need. The mind says that sounds incredibly boring, but when you sit in it, you realize that only peace and joy and love reside in it. So I invite you just to sit in that right now, just to be in that. So we didn't get a chance to sit much in meditation, but I don't like going much longer than an hour because I feel it's discouraging for people to look at the meditation in their minds. They feel like it's too long. So if you want to continue meditating, feel free to mute or turn your device off and continue to meditating. Thank you for being a part of this. I just really appreciate you being a part of this. I really do. And for those of you who are ready to finish the meditation, because it's about an hour, just taking in a nice deep breath. Just really being rooted and grounded in this wonderful, beautiful physical form that gets you around. And you may want to move it, stretch it. And taking your time, and whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. And I'm going to let's see, let me go over to Facebook here. Oops. Well, I have a little bit. I reset the internet yesterday. I might not be able to go into Facebook. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can access it right now, so I'm sorry, you guys. Thank you for it. You're welcome to put comments on there, and I'll see them later. I think I should be fine getting into YouTube, so I am going to go over there. And but before you go, those on Facebook too. So I am going to go over there. Oops, let's see here. Let me turn that on. And I just appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your love. I'm feeling like, particularly with doing all this fasting, it brings up stuff for me in a good way. Because anytime to me that we're kind of facing these fears that we have, because I like food, and you've heard me say it, I like sugar, and so for me to give up my meals and just do one meal a day, it's not an easy process. A lot of times I'm thinking about early on, like, I can't wait for 5 o'clock to get here, and stories will come up. Sometimes it makes me feel more vulnerable. But what I will say with this is that anytime you are doing something as a way of, I want to say, fasting for God, and it doesn't have to be with food, but fasting for God. When you give up something that's important to you, it could be a cup of coffee, could be chocolate, could be sex, could be whatever you're holding on to, just letting it go and just giving it back over to God and just saying, you know what, thank you for everything that you do in my life. I want to give this up, and do it for Lent. It's a perfect time just to do it for Lent. Give up something that's important to you, and it's letting go of your attachments and your desires and just taking you one step closer to that truth that you already are. I say taking you one step closer only from the perspective that it's clearing something that's blocking you from recognizing that you are already that. Okay? So, any case. And then Sandy, I know you put something on here. Let's see. I have a hard time reading. My eye's still a bit blurry, particularly after meditating. It kind of clears stuff out of my eye, which is good, and it's doing good. Your stories, your dream, the prayer, all resonated. I'll listen to this again. Perfect. Thanks, Sandy. I don't know why I feel a bit emotional, and probably it's because I've been doing so much fasting, but just feeling grateful. And I feel the more I let go of my attachments, like to food, I do feel God drawing nearer to me. It's not that God wasn't always near or with me and as me right now in this moment and in every moment. It's just that I become more aware of that. And so it's a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful. So part of me doesn't want to give this up just because I feel so good about everything. I'm in a bit of a vulnerable state, but it's a good state, and I'm grateful for that. So lots of love to all of you. Thank you for being a part of this. I'm truly grateful for all of you. Namaste, my friends. Sandy, you were saying, I also listened to Eckhart this morning. I needed to hear about your fasting process. Good. I'm glad. I had the talk at Unity of Grand Rapids on Sunday, and I really missed an opportunity. She'd asked me to speak something about love initially, which I did in December, and I didn't want to speak on that again. And then I realized that she had asked me afterwards if I wanted to do something on Lent, and I wasn't fully paying attention to that, but I really wanted to do the talk Fasting for God. And I've done that talk in the past, and it's such a powerful, powerful thing when we fast for God. And again, I don't mean just food, but fasting for God. Just giving up something that's important to us and saying, God, I love you so much that I'm going to let go of my desires to have a cup of coffee every day, to have this piece of chocolate. I know I always go to food, right? So, but yeah, whatever that thing is to you that you feel you've got a tight grip on, it's absolutely beautiful and gorgeous when you can let go of that grip. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing even. Maybe you say, let me just have 1 cup of coffee today, Let me just have 2 meals a day instead of 3, So whatever that thing that is calls to you. And Sandy, thanks for interacting with me. Have a blessed day. I will, my friend. You too. You too. All of you on Facebook. Let's see, which somebody's still out there. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sorry I couldn't join you in the interaction with us as well, but I'll see your comments later on. Okay, thanks so much.